Professor Dr. N. Gunasekaran is Dean, Rajalakshmi Engineering College, Chennai. He has 40 years of teaching experience in the field of electronics and communication engineering. He has guided 6 PhD scholars and 3 MS program scholars. He has published 10 books and 10 monographs. He conducted more than 50 short-term courses, winter schools, summer schools, and faculty development programs. He received Best Project Awards twice for UG projects at state level through Directorate of Technical Education and at national level President of India Award for the project on telephone for physically handicapped persons.
Welcome to UGC lecture series on optoelectronics. Last class we were discussing on semiconductor materials and their function. We just started that. In fact, we classified the materials as conductors, insulators and semiconductors based on their conductivity property. Today we will be spending most of the time in reviewing the conductivity in a metal. Though our main concentration is only on semiconductor, a detailed review of conduction in metals is very useful, very useful in the sense most of the concepts what we will be discussing today under the conduction in metals will be simply shifting to semiconductor as well, adding the proportionate concepts. So, I only request you to focus on some of the major concepts that we will be discussing in metals today. We already understood that materials can be classified based on energy band gap. Energy band gap is one of the unique identities of material. In fact, we already mentioned when atoms are isolated, the energy band representation is something discrete and displaced. But when atoms are brought closer, there is a merging, overlapping of energy band comes into picture, and that results in ultimately what we are focusing on, energy band diagram. And based on the energy band diagram as you see, it consists of a conduction band, a valence band separated by an energy gap. Valence band is a band where all valence electrons of an atom will occupy. Conduction band is a band where the electrons acquire energy from various sources and go to the conduction band and be available for conduction in a material, rather they constitute the current. In between there is a energy gap, a forbidden gap which is called, where electrons will not occupy any energy levels. There is no energy level in the energy gap. That means either the electrons should be in the valence band or the electrons should be in the conduction band. Well, this energy gap again it is not unique and constant. As you see already in the diagram, it is the energy gap that distinguishes a material into a semiconductor and conductor and insulator. Because one should not forget, energy gap is an indication of energy required by the electrons in an atom belonging to one material capable of improving the conduction. Conduction is one of the vital properties in any material. So, as the energy gap is more and more, the energy required by the material for better conduction is also increasing. So, the energy gap is an indication to identify, to classify a material. And again, it is not that we want energy gap should be very large, it is not that we want energy gap to be very small, it is not that we want energy gap to be in between. We do want energy gap to be as high as possible, so that we group them as insulators. we do want insulators, at the same time we do want good conductors. I think we appreciate this from our practical life itself. At the same time, now we do want a category called semiconductor, the conductivity of materials falling between conductors and insulators. The beauty lying behind this semiconductor is we cannot control too much the conductivity of the conductor, we cannot control the conductivity of the insulator also. In between the semiconductor, the name itself indicates the conductivity can be varied. So, it is under the designer's control that by varying certain parameter, what is that we are going to discuss? By varying certain ingredients or the preparation procedure, we can change the conductivity property of the material called semiconductor. There is a partial conduction, and it is this conductivity variation that leads to the generation of a variety of semiconductor devices. Today, the whole electronics world is filled with basically semiconductor devices. It may be discrete, it can be ICs, it can be VLSI chips, they are taking different form, but basically they are all belonging to the family of semiconductor devices. So, for the entire electronics industry, the backbone is the semiconductor. That is why we normally refer the industry as silicon technology or germanium technology, and now we are moving towards some more new materials. So, as the figure classifies, the leftmost is the insulator where energy gap is quite large, maybe in the range of 10 electron volts. The center is semiconductor where the energy gap is about 1 electron volt, and lastly the metal where there is no energy gap at all. So, today we are going to focus on the third one, where we identify it as a conductor. Conductor means capable of conducting comfortably without any contribution from the external source. So, even with the room temperature, the material is capable of conducting very well, and with the external applied voltage or applied field, the conductivity is increasing enormously. When the gap is more, as I told you, in the range of about 10 electron volts, it is an insulator. We require enormous energy to implement conductivity, rather we can say by and large it is impossible to supply energy to such material to induct conductivity. So, we can make a clear statement, insulators are not fit for conduction, rather insulating materials by its property, they are all used in many applications where we do want insulation. For example, porcelain, glass, rubber, they are all falling under the material called insulators, and we do require rubber, we do require porcelain, we do use glasses. So, they are having their own industry, they are having their own application. So, for all purpose we can say the conductivity of insulator is 0 or the resistance of the insulating material is infinity. The semiconductor which we are discussing now and will be discussing more in the subsequent meeting also, it is roughly 1 electron volt the gap. That means, at 0 degree temperature, please follow, at 0 degree temperature, the conductivity of the semiconductor is 0. So, for all purpose a semiconductor is an insulator. A semiconductor is an insulator at 0 degree Kelvin. That means, there is no energy at all to inject a proper conduction in the material, but if you supply energy or even at room temperature itself, the semiconductor is capable of absorbing energy from the room temperature. We indicated that the germanium, one of the popular semiconductors, require 0.785 electron volt. Electron volt is a very small unit. Electron volt is nothing but the multiplication of charge of an electron, which is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 of a coulomb, 10 power minus 19 of a coulomb. So, 1 electron volt means it is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into 1 volt. 1 electron volt is 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 into 1 volt. That means almost 0 volt we can say. That is the voltage. It is sufficient for a semiconductor to pick up some energy from the room temperature. So, if the supplied energy, why this 1 electron volt is mentioned rather than volt, because we are using for energy so many units, joules, erg, electron volt and so on, even watts, kilowatts, megawatts, all are representing the power of various levels. Please remember, in electronics we are handling very low powers, rather the devices are capable of operating with very low powers. That is why we try to devise new units, so that we are comfortable in using such unit. I cannot say I need in terms of watt for semiconductor, it is too much, as if we are putting a big lorry on a mosquito. So, we need a very small amount of energy, for which the comfortable unit is electron volt. So, 0.785 electron volt is a energy required for germanium, and 1.21 electron volt is the energy required for silicon at 0 degree Kelvin. This is the energy supplied from external agency. So, thereby there is a opening of promoting electron to a higher level, thereby conductivity increases. If you do not supply at all, let us say I am supplying 0.785 electron volt for germanium or 1.21 electron volt for silicon at 0 degree Kelvin, that means there is no contribution of energy from room temperature. So, obviously, if I do not supply the energy what we are indicating, even the room temperature itself can offer some energy, thereby some amount of electron flow will be there. But no energy supplied, room temperature also at 0 degree Kelvin means no electron movement. That means the semiconductor is called insulator. Please remember this point, a semiconductor for all purpose is an insulator at 0 degree Kelvin under no supply of energy from external agency. Well, when energy is given, automatically electron goes to the next level, which we call as a conduction band. The very name conduction band indicates the electrons are capable of moving and promoting the conduction, and conductivity thereby increases due to temperature. So, this is one form of improvement in conductivity, but that is not sufficient. What we are going to discuss in detail, we have to add some foreign material, which is the process is called doping. Doping is a process by which we can add from the neighboring groups the silicon germanium belonging to the 4th group in a periodic table. If you add very small quantity of substances from 3rd group and 5th group, we are planning to add to the 4th group some quantity from the 3rd group or 5th group, the neighboring groups. If you do it, then the conductivity will reasonably increase and the devices are fit for device purpose. So, for device purpose we have to go for the doping process. Now, the semiconductor which we are going to discuss in detail later are classified as intrinsic semiconductor, extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic semiconductor is a semiconductor where conductivity is promoted purely by increase in temperature. Temperature increases, breaking of bonds, electron released and they move to the conduction band. This is one process of conduction, which is a natural property of the material, that is why it is called intrinsic. Intrinsic means natural. The other one is extrinsic, by external agency by adding to the fourth group other groups. We call the other group material as a impurity, though it is not literally impurity. Being a foreign material or material belonging to other group, we give the name impurities or foreign materials. By adding such third and fifth group material, we can promote the conductivity of the fourth group. Methods using addition of foreign materials and improving the conductivity we call extrinsic semiconductor. Extrinsic means external, intrinsic means natural. So, we promote the conductivity of semiconductor either by natural way or by artificial way. We will have a very short break and we will continue. Welcome you after the break to continue our discussion. We made a mention about intrinsic semiconductor and extrinsic semiconductor. Intrinsic means natural, extrinsic means external agency or artificial. So, semiconductor conductivity can be improved either by intrinsically, that is by increasing the temperature, thereby the electrons gaining energy moving from valence band to conduction band. There are other methods by which the fourth group silicon or germanium can be added material from the third group and fifth group, so that the conductivity is promoted. Such methods or semiconductors following that methods are classified as extrinsic. We will discuss in detail about intrinsic and extrinsic at a later stage. For the time being, let us deviate to a much more very important fundamental concept, how the conduction of electrons taking place in a metal and how energy density can be calculated, how electron density can be evaluated. These are all very interesting and these are all going to be the supporting information for the semiconductor to follow. So, what is a metal? Metal is a substance where energy is just like that accepted by the electron, because if you see the diagram, the energy gap is indicated as 0. That means, the energy levels will appear continuously from bottommost level to the topmost level. There is no gap at all, there is no forbidden gap at all. All the levels are continuously staggered, an electron gets promoted to one level to higher level as it collects more energy and thereby conductivity enhances. Still we can talk about valence band and conduction band. Here what you should not forget, the valence, in the valence band also conduction is very good, and in the conduction band also the conduction is much more enhanced, because it is by energy gaining that electron goes to the conduction band, but there is no energy gap to break the transfer, simply the electron accepts getting transferred. Now, about the doping of fourth group by the third and fifth group, just now we discussed, that is the one we call the impurity added semiconductors. We will discuss later. Now, I also told that temperature is a first effect which will promote the conductivity, but that is not the main, rather very useful method. Temperature natural phenomena, if the temperature is 0 degree Kelvin, no energy transfer. If you come to the room temperature, the room temperature become 300 degree Kelvin. Please understand, when you say room temperature, we mean 300 degree Kelvin, that is 27 degree centigrade. So, whenever you say, and room temperature is a natural one, we are not creating room temperature. Wherever you are, the room already acquiring a natural temperature which is 300 degree Kelvin, which is fairly good enough to promote the conductivity of the material. Conductivity promotion by temperature, it is one method, that is all, but that we cannot use, we cannot control, we cannot channel that process for any useful applications. Please remember, for any useful application, the conductivity should be controlled by the engineer. Room temperature we may not able to control, it is a natural one. We cannot vary the room temperature, probably by air cooling we can do it, but that is too much abnormal method. But when I say controlled conductivity means adding some material in a very calculated way and promote the conductivity in a very fixed amount, thereby because it is a design of a device like a LED, like a solar cells, like a transistor, like a FET, like a silicon control rectifier, various type of diodes, IC chips. So, these are the devices where accuracy is very important. The accuracy and reproducibility are very crucial thing, where that means everything should be controlled, everything should be calculated, everything should work according to our design. So, thereby temperature effect is one effect, but that is not the very useful effect to go about the device operation. And there is a standard formulas are available, we can always see, because temperature is a heat energy. Please remember, heat energy is one energy which is promoting, but we are not heating it, it is a natural heat. So, thereby that is the one which we cannot account for controlled utility of promoting the devices. So, you can see the formula, there is a direct relation between the improvement of conductivity and the temperature, and again there is a direct relation between the energy gap and the temperature. With increase of temperature, the energy gap crossing is also increased. With increase of temperature, the promotion of more electron to the conduction band also increases. So, thereby we have a separate formula for a germanium, separate formula for a silicon. Now, we will quickly run through the metal. A metal is one where we said the gap is 0, the levels are continuous, the drawing of energy by the electron and moving to the higher level is very natural one. Now, the electrons, please remember we are in a totally different environment, it is a metal, it is not a semiconductor. So, most of the electron practically we can say here also we talk about atom, we talk about the nucleus, we talk about the electron revolving around the outermost shells, but the metal is identified by the one where the electrons are more comfortably moving in the orbits. That means, electrons practically all the electrons are orbiting and they are ready to get contributing to the conductivity. That means, for all purpose you can say all electrons identified as valence electrons, they are all in the valence band and with a very marginal energy they are all move to the conduction band. There is no Faraday gap. Please understand the identity. Valence band levels are not completely filled, but they are filled already, because all the valence electrons are in the valence band, though it may not be filled completely, but with marginal energy everything move to the conduction band. Second, no Faraday gap. That means, there is nothing like I want minimum this much of energy to cross, that boundary is not there, that barrier is not there, no barrier, it simply goes up. So, no Faraday gap, and lastly few electrons are already free and they are contributing to the conductivity or current flow of the material. These are the three important identity. Valence electrons are practically filled, no energy gap, so no barrier, walk through, and thirdly electrons are already in valence band moving freely, contributing to the conductivity of the material. And the beauty is we visualize, please, metal means metal, the very word should make you to feel higher conductivity. Electrons are available in plenty, they are moving comfortably in a material medium, this feeling one should get. That means, that is why we bring a model called electron gas. A gas is one where more freedom of movement is recognized. So, electrons they are larger in number, lighter in size, highly conducting. You see the 3 quantities, they are larger number, that means they are almost look like a cloud. It is not a discrete electron moving here and there, it is a cloud of electron like a mist. What you see mist in a cold season, it is like a mist surrounding the nucleus. The nucleus mainly of a positive charge which is practically immobile, whereas electrons are plenty in number in a conductor and moving comfortably. So, thereby what happen, you can see the nucleus are surrounded by cloud of electron, thereby we call this model itself is electron gas. Like a gas, electrons are comfortably moving around the nucleus, they are just penetrating the whole region where the nucleus remaining immobile, electrons are moving around. So, thereby you can see a similar diagram what you are observing. Here the nucleus are practically heavy, we already talked about that. So, the electrons are quite light and moving around these gaps. So, the penetration is a obvious maximum. Now, the electron gas theory says what? The electrons are in continuous motion, they are moving and they are already in the valence band. The direction of flight is quite random, and why they are random? Very frequently they hit on the immobile ions, the nucleus, they are quite heavy, about 2000 times heavier than the electron. So, when they move they hit on the ion and thereby they change the direction. Thereby for every small movement, for every small distance covered by electron, there is a collision between electron and ion. This distance between the collision we call as a mean free path, a path whereby the freedom is enjoyed by the electron before collision. The wording itself is beautifully telling, it is a free path for the electron before collision, and because of this collision, continuous repeated collision, the direction is continually changed. That means, if you observe at any one point, electrons are moving from left to right and right to left, bottom to top and top to bottom. That means, if you take the average velocity in a particular direction, it becomes 0. It becomes 0. So, under the non-equilibrium condition, under the random motion of electron, the average velocity of electron in n one direction is 0, that you should remember. That means, when the electron get the direction, yes, when you apply a voltage, electron gets a direction. When you say you are applying voltage, when you are applying a field, you are applying directional force. A voltage, a field is nothing but a directional force, electron is negative. So, based on the polarity of the applied force, the electron starts moving, thereby we are attributing a velocity. Now, you can see the velocity term is coming, velocity equal to the mobility which is proportional to the material property and what type of carrier we are talking, is it a hole or an electron. Here we are only focusing on electron. So, velocity of the electron, which that velocity we call as a drift velocity. Drifting means electron moving by force by the external voltage. So, the velocity of an electron is the mobility of the electron and the force, that is electric field. So, mu into E is a velocity. Always keep track with the dimension also. The mobility is meter square by volt second in volt by meter. If you keep the cancellation, finally, the velocity become volts meter per second, that is tallying. So, the first formula we are getting introduced. See, all these formula what we are talking for metal, it is extended to semiconductor also. That is why we can spend reasonable time to understand metal completely. Now, we bring the conductivity of the electron. The conductivity of the electron nothing but the current J. J is a current density, I is a current. So, J is a current per area. That conducting current J is a product of number of electron, because it is a flow, number of how many electrons are flowing, what is the charge of the electron, with what velocity the electron is flowing, number of electrons, what is the charge of the electron and velocity, that product is J, and that velocity we said it is a product of mobility or permeability into electric field. So, totally it is N E mu into E. E is applied force. we couple this n e mu together, we designate that as a conductivity. Conductivity is a main indicator of any material which is falling under the conductor. So, it is sigma e. So, one of the vital formula which you will be using repeatedly is J equal to sigma e, where sigma equal to n e mu. So, we are now developed 2-3 basic formula. One is the velocity equal to mu into E, conductivity equal to n e mu, and J equal to sigma E. J equal to sigma E is another form of Ohm's law. There are many more things we should discuss in the conductor, rather metal itself. After completing the basics, which are all going to be common to the metal and semiconductor, we will switch on to semiconductor. Summarizing our today's discussion, the energy gap Eg is a very important identity which is used to classify materials into insulator, semiconductor and conductor. And Eg for insulator is about 10 electron volts, it is about 1 electron volt for semiconductor, and it is 0 electron volt for a metal. The conductor is identified by 3 important factors. One, the valence band is almost filled, there is no forbidden gap at all, and we find the electrons are freely comfortably moving in the total metal volume. The metal is viewed, this is a model actually, the metal is viewed as if it contains an electron gas. This electron gas is a indication of mobility. So, the electron is moving around the nucleus like a gas. Normally electron movement is random in a metal, because the mobility is very high and conductor is identified as a equipotential surface. So, they are moving very freely. So, it is random. For a random movement, the directed velocity in any one direction is 0. So, the average velocity becomes 0 for randomly moving electron, and when a field is applied, there is a direction provided to the electron motion, and that we call as a drift velocity. The drift velocity becomes the drift current. There are few questions for you to ponder over. What is an energy gap? This word energy gap is important both for conductor, insulator and semiconductor. So, what is energy gap means, and what are the energy gap for insulator, semiconductor and conductor? What is the value? I am just telling, because the value itself indicates the behavior of the material. And what is an electron gas model for the metal, and what is the random motion of electron leads to in a metal volume, and what is drift velocity. So, go through the questions, we can come back to discuss for any clarification. Thank you.